What's going on, guys? We are going to continue on the Darth Vader build, and by continue I mean kind of start. I mean, we painted some stuff, but we still have all of this to do. We just finished up putting together and testing the Yoda build. We've got a list of stuff we're going to do on that. Like fill in this gap here, change around the heat sink, flip some of the fans around, and little things like that. But we're going to call that so far a success and put that aside and get this one going. So far I picked up some mounting hardware I can use for the water blocks. We're obviously going to use some washers and stuff inside there. These will be stuck through the bottom, these on top, and we don't need those to be super snug. Obviously when all the tubing's connected and everything, it's also going to help hold those in place. Now obviously we can't do any sort of X-clamp with this. We'd have to do some kind of completely custom bracket on there. And I'm just not worried about it. The reason it was a problem when people swapped out the X-clamps for just the screws was the system would still get really hot and then it would start to warp stuff. But obviously with all this going on, this thing should not get anywhere near hot enough to start warping stuff or for that to be a problem. So yeah. Right now, before I actually install the water blocks, I still need to map out exactly where I'm gonna route all the tubing and stuff so that I know exactly what fittings need to be on these water blocks before I actually put them on. At least this one here, as you can see, if I put this in place and I can't use this one, I won't really be able to unscrew it without putting a lot of pressure on the motherboard and stuff like that. So I want to have the fittings I need first, put those on, and then we're going to put our thermal paste and install these guys. So I think what's going on here is I originally was going to have this all one piece, and really I was going to put a 90 fitting to go from this radiator to the reservoir. So this entire thing would be one big piece, all connected together, no tubing. However, because the temperature display is going to pretty much go right above where this flow meter is, I don't think there's any point in using this. But I will have to put the top piece over and see exactly how much the fan can see. But of course, our temperature display is about right here, so don't think there's going to be any use for that. I did have an idea of putting it kind of sideways and cutting a window in the bottom of the console or something like that, but I just don't think this is too big, so I don't know if that's going to work out. I could use another flow meter like this one here or something like that, but if you're not really going to see it, I'm not super worried about it. Plus, I'm cool with having all this extra space that you won't actually see, where I can route all of the wiring, put our fan splitter board, which should be right here. So basically what we're going to do with this, oh good lord, same thing, we're going to splice into our DVD cable to power this, and this will be 5 volts only, and this is where we can connect these 3 fans. We can connect the top fan, our temperature display, and if I do decide to put the other 2 red clear fans on this radiator, which would be pretty obnoxious to be honest, but with no fans on it, there's not going to be enough airflow going through here for it to really be worth it. This is not a cheap radiator. So, yeah. Still deciding. I think it will fit between the water block, but worst case scenario, I may just put one of them. We will see. I could put the fans on the back. It would push this whole radiator forward, and then I wouldn't really be able to go out of here back into the reservoir. I would have to somehow route something to go back into this side of the reservoir. But the plan was to sort of have a cutout here, so basically at this part of the Xbox, where this can go straight up and stick out the top, where we can have a cap there to easily literally pour the fluid into the top and lay the system on its side and use that as a drain port as well. Now I did get that dark side ball valve. However, the only thing I would do with that is to put it on the inside just as a joke, as like a self-destruct button, I guess, to where you can clearly see it on the inside of the system, and where it's just pointing to the inside of the motherboard. I think that'd be kind of funny. So in theory, if someone were to open that valve, it would just spill all the fluid to the inside of the Xbox. Obviously that's not going to happen. There's going to be a cap on it. The reason I wouldn't put that up here is, I don't know if it's just an old part or what, but you have to put so much force on it to turn that ball valve to open or close it. If it was mounted on this, I mean, even if it was mounted to that metal frame, it would probably just bend that whole thing. So yeah, I can't really use that as an actual way to fill and drain the system, which isn't a problem. As long as you have a cap somewhere, I mean, it's, you know, it's gonna be fine. So anyway, this is what we got. This video isn't gonna be a whole lot of stuff. I know the other parts are probably just me explaining what's going on here, but this is a huge part of these builds, is planning everything out before I just start bolting stuff on and then have to go back and take it all apart. That's why I used the other motherboard, the broken one, as kind of a template to see how I wanted to do everything, because you don't want to keep banging this stuff into the motherboard in random spots. That's how you end up with a complete system that you go to turn on and it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, that's all we're really doing today. I did clean up the motherboard and get all the thermal paste off. Came off real nice. I also was waiting to do this part to give this piece some more time to dry. So you can see I painted it with the anodized red. And obviously we just did the bottom side. The whole inside was masked off. That's still a ground for some of this stuff on the motherboard, so you don't want to paint over that. But as you can see, like I've mentioned many times, this is a see-through panel. So when this is on here, you'll be able to see a little bit of a red glow. And once I have some LEDs backlighting this, like if I have red LEDs, it should reflect off the red and just make it, you know, even more red. So that was the idea behind painting this here. But now we're ready to install this water block and get these, get the motherboard in place in the metal shell, and then we can actually start doing all the rest of this stuff. Like I said, all the fans and everything will be powered off of here. We do still need a 12 volts we can also pull from the DVD drive to power our pump, and anything else on 12 volts, maybe the top fan, we will see. So anyway, I don't want the whole video to be just me talking, so we are going to get these water blocks installed. I'm not super worried about having to change these ones out on this water block since they're on the very top. But this one here, I think I'm just going to have a barb fitting right here. Use one of the acrylic elbow pieces like this to have it right here, and then it'll go straight into this side of this radiator. And then over here we can either have it come straight out into the reservoir, or we can have it come out of this side and kind of loop back to the bottom of the reservoir if there's not enough room. But yeah, so before I end this, I'm going to go ahead and take our plastic film off of these and install the water blocks. Alright, so we got our water blocks both installed, washers on all four sides, and I've got all the screws in the motherboard in, and our red and white ring of light board is installed. Then I need to I'm going to start working on the radiators. I do need to get this bit of wiring done. Probably just do the wiring first before I start putting radiators on there, because this one will obviously go right over top where that plugs in. There should be plenty of room, but it will be impossible to plug it in once that's in. So I'm probably going to have to do some of that before the next video in the series. So that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next video. Bonus clip. Okay, I also wanted to mention oh, the weight. So without the DVD drive in this thing is surprisingly light. Now with all the extra stuff, with the extra heatsink and fans and all that other stuff, it's about the same as standard Xbox. So this one as well, I'm hoping won't be too much heavier than standard Xbox, even though we've got two full copper radiators here, acrylic reservoir, the pump, water blocks, more solid copper in there. It is definitely going to be heavier than a standard Xbox, but it shouldn't be like the Eyeball 360. That one had the DVD drive and the, you know, this radiator, kind of the same stuff going on. However, this is slightly, no, it's definitely lighter than the DVD drive, so that's basically what's replacing the weight of that, plus the extra stuff there. So just thought that was interesting. Okay, bye again.